I'm Kasem. Casey's Top 40 originates in Hollywood. And rolling in at number 35, here's the third of our 4 debuts. It's by a group from Cincinnati called the Blessed Union of Souls. This is their first Top 40 hit, I Believe.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Kasem. Well, now we're up to Blessed Union of Souls, a group whose lead singer says there's a good reason he's staring straight ahead on the cover photo on their CD. It's because he's afraid of heights. When Blessed Union of Souls was putting together their debut CD, Home, they wanted to capture the sights and sounds of their home, the rural area around Cincinnati. For the cover, 3 of the members thought it would be a good idea to pose standing on an old abandoned railroad bridge. They thought the colorful forest surrounding the bridge would reflect the simple style of their music. But lead singer Eliot Sloan had a big problem. You see, that old railroad bridge is 70 feet above a roaring river, and Eliot is very afraid of heights. But Eliot's a professional, and he knew the show must go on. So he reluctantly agreed to pose in the shot. The day of the picture session, Eliot tried to keep as calm, cool, and collected as he could. You see, the rickety old bridge didn't have a railing, and if you looked down, you could see right through the tracks to the river 70 feet below. So Eliot simply folded his arms tight, stared straight ahead with an intense look on his face, and waited for the picture session to be over. Well, Eliot Sloan may have a fear of physical heights, but when it comes to climbing the charts, he has no problem at all. His group's first single, I Believe, went all the way to number 1 this past spring. Here's Blessed Union of Souls with Let Me Be the One.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm David Perry, sitting in for Casey Kasem. These are the hits you're buying and radio stations are playing from coast to coast. Falling 3 notches to number 21 is Blessed Union of Souls, a group that worked on their sound at a 100-acre farm just outside of their hometown of Cincinnati, Ohio. It's a sound they call rural soul. This is Blessed Union of Souls with Oh, Virginia.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem. These are the week's biggest hits from 40 to number 1, and we're counting them down. Falling 2 notches to number 24 is the group Blessed Union of Souls. Lead singer Eliot Sloan says he has one goal in music, not to sell a lot of records, but to get people to listen to the words he sings. He hopes the group's fans will be able to apply the messages in each song to their own lives. Here's a song Eliot sings about everlasting love, All Along.
Casey's Top 40.
Well, now we're up to I Wanna Be There. It's by a group from Cincinnati whose leaders once played in a cover band by night so they could put together their own blessed music during the day. Singer Eliot Sloan and guitar player Jeff Pence first met when they were hired to work in a band that played in bars at hotels up and down the East Coast. The band didn't even have a name, but Eliot and Jeff were both struggling musicians, and they were grateful for the work. Like most cover bands, that nameless group would play reasonably faithful versions of hits of the day. Eliot and Jeff didn't find it very creative work, but it did give them time during the day to work on what was really important to them, and that was developing their own sound. When they first joined the band, Eliot and Jeff didn't know each other, but as they traveled together, they got closer, and they found that musically they had a lot in common. Eliot Sloan says, in the hotels, we really got to know each other musically, and that's when we started writing our own songs. Soon, an idea formed in their heads to get out of that cover band and form a group of their own, a group that ultimately became known as Blessed Union of Souls. And this week, their 5th hit is at number 19 on Casey's Top 40. Here's Blessed Union of Souls with I Wanna Be There.
Casey's Top 40.
From Hollywood, this is Casey Kasem. And falling 4 notches to number 39 on Casey's Top 40 is the group Blessed Union of Souls. Singer Eliot Sloan says when he first suggested the name to the other members of the band, they all loved it. But guitarist Jeff Pence asked for only one slight change. He wanted to spell the word blessed the wrong way, with an I instead of an E, so that people would pronounce it the right way. Here's Blessed Union of Souls and I Wanna Be There.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
And rising 5 notches to number 28 on Casey's Top 40, here are Tony Clark, Eddie Hedges, Jeff Pence, C.P. Roth, and Eliot Sloan. The group Blessed Union with light in your eyes.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm David Perry, sitting in for Casey Kasem. Falling 7 notches to number 36 is Blessid Union, a group known for their easygoing way of life on the road. In fact, singer Eliot Sloan says he once overheard a member of their road crew say, quote, "This isn't a band, it's summer camp." Here's the fun-loving, carefree Blessid Union with Light in Your Eyes.
I can't remember. Number 15.
Jumping 6 notches is Hey Leonardo, She Likes Me for Me, a song that was partially inspired by Eliot Sloan's Neighbors. He says, quote, "Whenever I go on tour, the young girls down the street would ask me to say hi to Leonardo or Hanson because they figured I knew them," unquote. Here's Eliot and his band Blessid Union of Souls with Hey Leonardo, She Likes Me for Me.
She don't care about my car. American Top 40.
We're counting down the biggest hits of the week. Now, we're up to the latest hit for Blessid Union of Souls, a band whose unusual name comes from one of the most popular TV sitcoms in history, a TV sitcom set in the Korean War. It was back in 1994 that Eliot Sloan had assembled the musicians he felt sure had what it took to become a successful act. What they didn't have was a name. And then Eliot turned on the TV and began watching a rerun of MASH. MASH was a story of doctors working in Korea. The show ran for 11 years, beginning in 1972. Eliot says, "You know how Frank was always hitting on Hot Lips Houlihan? He was always saying things like, 'I need you, Margaret. I can't stand for us to be apart.'" Well, as Eliot watched the scene, one he'd seen before, Major Burns said, quote, "Be with me tonight, Margaret. I need to feel the blessed union of our souls, or I'm going to break out in hives." I was laughing, says Eliot Sloan, but I was also thinking, what a cool name for a band, which is how Blessid Union of Souls came to be. Now, here they are on AT40 at number 36 this week with Standing at the Edge of the Earth.
America's Top Hits.
This week back in 1995, one of the top hits in the USA was by Blessid Union of Souls, a song that inspired hundreds of letters to the band from fans who say their life was touched by its message. It's one of those songs whose impact goes far beyond the pop charts. In this case, the message of the song is one of hope and optimism in the face of homelessness, drug addiction, and tension between the races. Eliot Sloan, who wrote the song, says he never expected it to cut so deeply, but he received boxes full of letters from people who say they had to rethink a lot of things in their lives after hearing this song. A song that was one of the top hits in the USA this week back in 1995. Here's Blessid Union of Souls and I Believe. This week, back in 1995, that was one of the top hits in the USA, Blessid Union of Souls with I Believe.
The hits from coast to coast.